I'm sure you guys have seen on the channel one of my very first videos was about like attachment styles because that's been such a pivotal part of my self-improvement journey, understanding that I have a very anxious attachment style, and that's led me to not be in relationships or like be scared of relationships or scared of involving myself with people because I've been unable to control myself really. My hair's looking weird today. No, aside from that, I'm unable to control myself in those kind of relationships. And I'm talking to a guy currently, and he's really cute, and he might see this video. I don't know if he's going to watch the channel. I sent him a link to some video I made, but I don't know if he's going to see it. But either way or not, I'm honest with you guys, so I'll be honest with him if he's watching, but it doesn't matter. I'm talking to this guy currently. We've been talking for about 2-3 weeks, I think, maybe 2 weeks. He's really nice. He's really lovely. He's really good for me. I've never talked to someone this way that has made me feel so kind of. It's not like a sexual thing, where most of the time it usually is for me. Most of the time it's just a one night stand and that's it. And that's fine, but I do that because I don't have to involve myself with emotional intimacy. I do that just to satisfy a base physical need, which is all good and well, but like, yeah, I don't want to get involved with the emotional side of things because I know, or I believe I know, that I can't deal with it. So things with this guy have been going for the most part pretty good. I guess we've been talking pretty much every single day, but like over text, not like calling each other. But at least recently, especially last night, we were calling in a voice call, and it was fine. The conversation was good, but I just couldn't feel like I wanted to get like into deeper subjects. We were just talking about like goals and aspirations, and where you want to travel or where I want to go to, and all the kind of nice stuff. But I wanted to kind of almost there was almost a fear there at the end of it, like when we hung up. There was almost a fear that I wanted to just say, okay, let's just be boyfriends now. Let's just do it. Let's just. I wanted to grab onto that relationship. I wanted to like secure it and tie it down because I was scared. I am scared of this kind of unknowability, and yet I understand, or I'm starting to understand now, thanks to journaling, thanks to meditation, thanks to gratitude lists. That I'm able to accept and be open to the flow of love from many different people. It's not. I shouldn't just attach myself to one person and believe that's the only person in the universe that would ever make me happy or I could make happy. You know, and I'm learning that I have to let this thing breathe. There's a saying in trying to think. There's in the Tibetan book of living and dying where it says, love or clinging or attachment to someone is like a flower or petal in your hand. You don't like crush it and grasp the petal or the flower. You leave it in your hand. Or butterfly. I think the butterfly analogy is a butterfly. It's like a butterfly landing in your hand. You don't crush the butterfly in your palm to keep it there forever. You let it land. You admire its beauty and then you let it fly off. And that's very much the same with any kind of relationship in a true sense, but especially a romantic one, especially for me. I'm having a real traumatic response where in my childhood, you know, I was always fearful of being left with my grandparents by my parents, and I had to do that many times in my childhood. And there's many good reasons why, but it left me with a very anxious attachment style because of that kind of separation from my parents and that separation for love, as well as the conditionality of love and all that stuff as well. It left me with real fears around relationships and intimacy because I believed that I was unworthy of love and that if anyone did like me or if I did like anyone, I had to pursue that until I killed it. Essentially, I had to pursue it until there was no love. It's compulsion, not even love. You know, the way I describe it with the anxious attachment style is that when that attachment system gets activated, and I feel that kind of adrenaline, that fear, that anxiety, that sort of it makes you want to kind of go small and crunch up and just become defenseless almost as well. When I know the antidote to it is to like breathe into it, with your full belly. That's something they say in the way of the spirit man. When you're feeling this anxiety and this feeling of wanting to crunch up and go small and go tiny, you need to do the opposite. You need to go, breathe into it. My fucking sinus are blocked, but breathe into it with like your full gut. That's something I found out as well in my pranayama practice. Like when you're holding a breath or you've exhaled the breath and you're holding it, your lungs are empty, and you wanna almost like your body wants to tense up and get smaller and I think your body is thinking that you obviously there's a reason why you can't breathe, so it's trying to get you active or fighting it. You have to like mentally expand yourself and mentally expand everything. And maybe that changes. I'm sure it does change some physiological things as well, making your internal organs or capillaries expand. But yeah, you have to do the same opposite thing, both mentally and emotionally. I have to do that thing emotionally as well. So yeah, I'm really grateful that I have this kind of relationship because it's gonna bring me so much growth. I think even if this goes nowhere, even if it turns out he's coming to London in September, so we'd only meet then. Like unfortunately, when we met, he was going back to Brussels, so it sucks. But yeah, and this is the part of me wanted to like cling on to this relationship now and say, okay, now this is be boyfriends and they do this, and then I won't have to put in the work. It's almost a laziness. Well, not laziness, but it's almost like a I don't want the uncertainty of it, and yet the uncertainty is where so much of the love is. I mean, up until a point, there's like obviously avoiding attachment styles, and like I can get very fixated on people who are avoidant because that's the attachment I sort of received in my love was one that people were always going away from me, so I chase after them. So I have to be aware of that. But he strikes me as a really stable guy, and it's really lovely because he's not giving in, I guess, essentially to my anxious attachment style, but he's not either distancing himself or making himself cold. He's emotionally available, and that's such a beautiful thing. Like that's a fucking I I really am triggered by emotionally unavailable people. I go after them because they trigger up these cocktail of emotions. Tangent, like I said earlier, though, when my attachment system is activated and I'm feeling these feelings about a person, it's like having an allergic reaction, to these emotions and thinking it's love. Love is not this scared, tiny little frightful thing that you have to guard jealously and cling on to until it dies. Love is this broad, open, flowing thing. It's so plentiful. It's not at all what I thought it was, and I've just been growing up with this poor model of love and what relationships are. Maybe a part of my parents. My parents, they're in arranged marriage. They don't love each other. I've never had like a healthy model of a relationship growing up, and in and of itself, that's left me kind of cynical about the whole idea of marriage. I mean, I don't know. Maybe not as much nowadays, but especially when I was younger as well. And maybe that even led me to the whole Red Pill things. But that's fine because Red Pill led me to Hamza, and Hamza led me to here. So we go on our journeys. But I'm still anxiously attached. But I'm learning from someone who's secure, who strikes me as secure, how to be open, how to be flowing, how to be loving. And that's such a beautiful thing. And if you're like me, anxiously attached, I'd highly recommend reading the book called Attached. I can't remember who's by. Just look up Attached book, and it's a great like overview of attachment styles and methods of working through them. I think realistically speaking, though, I'm gonna probably need like a relationship sort of therapist or someone who specializes in these kind of styles to really get into the deep work. My plan is when I start working, I'm gonna put the money I'm earning into that. I'm gonna put the money into therapy, into stuff I'm gonna need as well, like sort of counseling. I guess I'm really gonna invest in my mental health because I haven't been doing that recently, and I've got the good habits, and the good habits help me. But there's also very much a problem where it's very conditional. Like I mentioned in the last video, there's so much conditionality. I'm a good boy when I follow my good habits, but when I don't, I'm bad. I'm a bad person, and there's that kind of negative self talk is gonna need some undoing and unpacking. But I'm so grateful. I'm aware. Like you don't understand. I've been living with this 20 something years now. I'm 26, but like so probably yeah, let's say about like 16, 13. Yeah, it's like 23 years. Maybe 20, yeah, 13 years, I've been living with these feelings and not been able to understand why I'm stuck in these cycles, why I do the things I do. And just, yeah, I think what's really helped me is journaling, meditation. It's hard to pin it down on one thing specifically. The journaling is a massive part. The meditation is also a massive part, but also everything else that's helping my mental health and helping my areas like the weightlifting and the yoga, cold showers, and just making the YouTube as well. That's really good, and the reading as well has been good. All these good habits they tie in together, and they've helped me kind of like be able to transcend childhood trauma. Anyways, guys, take care. And remember, choose purpose over pleasure.